Hello, beautiful people. It is Friday, which means it is another episode of Thankful Fridays. And all of the things I'm grateful for, I will discuss in this recording. But first and foremost, it has been a minute. I'm really glad I'm back speaking with you after quite some time. You know, I came back from my amazing adventure making documentaries over in Vietnam and doing some travel as well, where I got to connect with a lot of beautiful people that I already knew in Vietnam, particularly in central Vietnam, and then was able to travel around to some new parts of the country, including the gorgeous Dalat up in the mountain region there. But ever since coming home, I've been really busy, and it's been for a lot of good reasons. But one in particular has been my brand new business. That's correct. I have started a new business, and that is the first thing that I am thankful for this Friday, is the establishing of, drum roll please, Planetary Productions. That's right. I love this planet. I love telling authentic stories about good people doing good in the community. And honestly, that has been the catalyst, the motivator for creating Planetary Productions. Of course, planet is in the title. I make content, more specifically documentary stories about the good people that are making a difference on this planet. And through the skills that I have in interviewing those people, in bringing together a cross-cultural collaboration with people of all different skills from all different cultures around our planet, we collaborate together and we make documentary stories that really matter. And wanting to take all of the skills that I have and my love for travel and take it to a whole new level, whether we're creating feature documentaries, short length documentaries of over 30 minutes in length, or whether we're creating authentic videos for non-profit NGOs, social enterprises. I really am passionate about this, and so it was a no-brainer really. I had been having these ideas about starting my own production company for the longest time. And to be honest, Actuality Abroad has really opened my eyes to, the career that is possible through documentary making. And the reason I'm doing it on my own is because I have so many connections to these stories all around the world, have so many close connections, so many relationships within different communities, but then also provide a lot of different offerings as well, including consultancy, where there's a lot of people that have came to me and went, Michael, we've seen your public speaking. Michael, we've seen a lot of your documentary work. Like, we've got a team of creatives at our disposal that we would love to guide, but we don't have the same expertise, and we want to try and find those voices within our own organizations. Can you help us? And I was sort of like, yeah, I can, but I don't really have a structure for it yet. So I've created that structure. So I am a media consultant, and so a lot of my offering on the Planetary Productions website does include consultancy. So it's something that I'm really excited to do, because I have mentored a lot of students. I've mentored a lot of people that have also not had marketing training or even public speaking experience, or have wanted to start a podcast for quite some time and just don't know how. And so I've been able to kind of create a structure that allows me to sort of do all of that for these really cool people. And the most important thing for me is that all of my clients, all of the stories that I tell are aligned with me. You know, these are good people doing good stuff in our community. And these are people that have worked or are working with really inspirational people. And so these are stories that really light my soul. And therefore, these are stories that are very easy to tell for me. And these are clients that are really quite a pleasure to work with. So, I think that, you know, having that alignment is so important in any business or any collaboration. If you're both on different pages, or you just, you don't have the same set of values, I think you're going to find it difficult to work together. or certainly agree on a lot of different steps within the production process. So for me, being really clear about who it is I want to work with, who it is I want to collaborate with, and people from that grassroots level that are already doing great stuff, but they just haven't had the opportunity, or they don't have the skills to really self-promote or get their story out there to larger distribution. So that's where I can really help. That's where I can be of assistance. And I really find that media consultancy, being a part of my greater offerings underneath the umbrella of Planetary Productions, allows me to do that. And also having visual storytelling offerings, great, so I can actually help them craft the videos. And then also sort of providing a production studio where, you know, somewhere along the line, I'm writing a feature film. I've got some other feature ideas. I'm working with a lot of people that are writing on TV shows and features. And as a production studio, we can actually help produce that idea and get it, you know, onto the mainstream stage and help with distribution partners and all that sort of stuff. So that is less of the priority as far as what our offerings are, but that will become much more of a bigger offering, I believe, somewhere down the line. But right now, the documentary education side of Planetary Productions is where I'm really investing a lot of my time and energy, because to tell feature or short-length documentaries from our global communities, as I said, is something that I'm genuinely passionate about, and it's something that I've invested a lot of time in through my experience, as I said, with tertiary education, working with students, working with creatives, and then doing the same kind of thing overseas with Actuality Abroad, where we've done Vietnam, Mexico, Guatemala. These experiences have been huge for me, and and doing it freelance and solo as well has really allowed me to get out into different communities and, again, make these partnerships, which I'm now, sort of retracing my steps and going, yeah, there's a story here. Let's tell it in a bit more depth. Let's bring local creatives on board, because that's a really important part of the process, particularly in documentary education. Us Westerners, or me as an Australian, I come into a project overseas with my perspective. It doesn't mean I can't step into the shoes of people from that place, but I don't have the same perspective. We've got very different perspectives, very different upbringings, very different environments, very different beliefs, very different culture. So bringing people from that community on board is imperative to having an authentic and ethical production, and therefore a big part of my documentary education program is really tapping in to that local expertise. Now, whether that local is a local creative, a cinematographer, a director, an editor, a producer, a colorist or a sound recordist, whatever they are, they will add value to that production through their expertise and also through their perspective, being part of that community or that culture. And bringing on cultural experts to have it as authentic as possible is one of the most important parts of bringing together these documentaries. And that is another exciting part of what the documentary education program will do. Yeah, sure, we want to bring local Australians, Americans, wherever you're from, studying a degree that's media, journalism, PR, filmmaking. That's great. We want to have you on board, but we also do want people that are from the place that we're making the film in, and that want to get a little bit more skills on the ground. And these projects are of varying length. There are projects that I've already kind of almost three-quarters of the way through, but we just need, a bit more footage. We need some more interviews. We need, potentially some establishing shots or some actual translations, because some of our interviews that we've done in some communities are a very ancient, very specific dialect to that area, and going back to those communities and having these projects specifically translated to that dialect is one of the things that we need to do. So my offerings are a range of projects that are already in motion but just need, I guess, finalising, and then there are other projects that are completely new stories in completely new regions and completely new opportunities to really make something of that. So we're in a very exciting time. I've been I've been kind of so eager to share this with you. And this isn't the only time I'm going to share this with you. There's going to be a lot more content that comes with this, but the journey has been unique. There's been a lot of stuff involved. People out there that are listening to this that are entrepreneurs, that are their own business owners. You guys know this. There's a lot that goes into it. I mean, obviously, but when it comes to simple things like setting up bank accounts, registrations, making sure that you've got your your books all sorted. You have a website up and running. You have your social media pages cooking. You have plans and your business plan, financial plan. All of this ties into the entrepreneurship, the Certificate 4 that I completed early this year. So there's been a lot of building, there's been a lot of networking, and that's actually a nice transition into what I'm also really, really thankful for, and that is I am thankful for all of the networking that I've done as a part of being a new business owner. My goodness, the amount of amazing people that I've met through all of these new business event networking sessions, mentoring sessions, catch-ups over a coffee, whatever it's been, when you're very new to this space, you're kind of looking for business intel. You're looking for people that can really guide you in the right direction because they have the expertise, they've had the experience, they've had the learnings. Initially, it was as close to home as literally my brother and my sister-in-law both run their own respective businesses, quite successful businesses, I might add. And so speaking to them firsthand about their experiences in this field has been huge. My mum started a non-for-profit. My dad is a sole trader. So it feels like everyone in my family are already in the business space or in the non-profit space. So they were kind of like, come on, man, hurry up, So I finally caught up. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people in my close circle of contacts are very knowledgeable in this area. So I've been quite supported whenever I've had an inquiry, just a perspective and an idea that I've wanted to bounce off a few people. I've been very, very well supported with people in this field, which has been amazing. But I've also seeked a lot more advice from people, and I've got to shout out the Nillumbik Shire. They have been amazing. They've put on a lot of business events. In fact, the very first networking event I did with Nillumbik was all the way back last year, I think in August or September. And my very first contractor, Nurse Next Door, shout out, was from that business meeting. So, you can meet a lot of people that are in similar fields. You can meet people that are sort of in a different field, like Nurse Next Door is more of a service provider for people that are in aged care or end-of-life care or disability care, those kind of fields. But they needed someone to help them with their marketing or some very specific marketing tasks. And I was able to come to their aid and create a very nice partnership with them. So, those events have been quite fruitful. Also, I think from that first event or some other Nillumbik events, I've met Sid, who is an amazing person in the business space who runs his own business networking events every fortnight in Blackburn. So I've been to quite a few of those, and they have been amazing. I've met some really friendly people who are also content creators. I met an awesome guy, Ali, who is a documentary filmmaker himself, runs his own business. I think it's Odyssey Cinematics, shout out. Incredible work he does, got some brilliant testimonials. And then, met some other, Sherry, I think is a sort of a photographer. She's amazing, and just met so many different people that have really contributed in a bunch of different ways to, the insight to what it's like to run a business, but also what it's like to collaborate in the community. So Nillumbik's been a big supporter of that. The Banyul Council have done some great events, particularly for social entrepreneurs or people that are looking to do crowdfunding. They've done some really great events around that. I think Pitch for Good was a really great event. My really good friend Michelle did some pitching for a great mental health project that she's running around gaming for good mental health. So that was a really great event, I think, in Greensborough. And so there's been a lot of fantastic local events. And then there's been very creative specific events as well. I know I went to an event, Movers and Shakers in Abbotsford, and they were amazing too. Shout out to everyone that came along to that. That was a really fantastic event where I met a lot of musicians. I met a lot of people that are in writing content, TV writing, even not necessarily directly in a creative field, but want to support me in what I'm doing. And, there's been some great connections out of that have led to going to some different film festivals. So Mosaic, I think, was one of the creative festivals I went to, and there was some great films that, derived with creatives from southern India and people from Taiwan as well. There were some really, really great films there that were displayed, like some short films that were about 10 minutes or 20 minutes in length, but had really good cross-cultural collaborations. So I really enjoyed watching those, and it was fantastic. So I've really been grateful to get around local community events, meet other business owners, meet other early stage entrepreneurs. Also a massive shout out to the Start Space in the State Library in Melbourne. If you're a new entrepreneur in Melbourne, or if you've been around for a while, I encourage you to sign up for that. This is a space right in the heart of Melbourne. They have desktops. They have, I think, monthly breakfasts where they have a guest speaker come in. They have a lot of different networking events. I went to a Founders Day run by, I believe, Study Victoria, and it was great. Got to meet a lot of students that are wanting to get global experiences with storytelling. So it was great to sort of tell them a bit about Planetary Productions, but also, it was just a great event in Melbourne to have guest speakers talking about the benefits of AI, and how you can kind of use it for business savviness. But yeah, also just a lot of great networking opportunities with people. And it's funny, when you go to a lot of these business networking events, you do meet a lot of the same people. And it's always great to kind of, brush shoulders with them and say, hey, what have you been up to? What's been going on? What are you working on currently? So there's definitely a lot of benefit to putting yourself in these spaces. And, sometimes, most of the time, to be honest, you don't really need to go in with a set agenda and, a certain outcome to be like, oh, I need to meet 3 people that are filmmakers, or I need to meet 4 people that have connections to Southeast Asia because I want to make a film there one day. If you go in with an open mind, you're always guaranteed to get benefit out of it. And I think that's been one of the kind of best approaches that I've had with a lot of these networking events. And I'm not going to lie, it does get to a point where I think there was one week where I had 5 different business networking events, and I was kind of exhausted. There's a lot of information, and I did also shout out to the St Kilda Film Festival. They do I think it's called a Big Idea Day at JMC Academy, which is in South Melbourne. And I'd previously been to that before, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And, the Melbourne film community is big, but you do run into a lot of people that and I've met a lot of great people through that event. And I walked out of that event, having some new contacts, seeing some of my friends in filmmaking, and I just felt so motivated and excited. But I also, because I'm someone who loves writing out notes, absolutely, I have different notebooks and everything, always carry a little notebook in my pocket. And how many notes do you think I took at the St Kilda Film Festival? All right, I'll give you a second to think about that. All right, drum roll please. The answer is 50 pages. 50 pages of notes. Now look, my writing's a little bit all over the place, but I've got the notebook right here. So in a notebook like this, right, so, kind of maybe quarter A4, there's a kookaburra singing in the background. Can you hear that? Wow, isn't that awesome? Kookaburra singing, I love that. And in this area that I'm at the moment, you get a lot of kookaburras, so that's really, really cool. 50 notes I wrote in this notebook, so you can get inundated with so many wonderful people, so many beautiful insights, so many different story ideas, channels to get funding for certain cultural projects or whatever it is. It can be overwhelming. So I do have a system, a setup. I have like an Excel spreadsheet where I put a lot of the contacts, people that I've met. You know, while it's still fresh in my mind, I try and get down, you know, where I met them, what their details are, what we may be able to collaborate on in the future, and potentially sort of some advice that they gave me. So I think in this period of time, I've gained a lot of information, probably an over-accumulation of information, and it's about being able to strip that all back and find the wisdom, find the truth, find the relatability, and find the seed in all of that information that will help you grow an idea into something much bigger, or a collaboration into something much bigger. So it's about, I guess, sifting the wheat from the chaff and being able to say, okay, where does this idea fit in to my greater ecosystem? This might be a great idea, but it isn't relevant to me right now, but it might be relevant to me somewhere down the line. So I never want to burn or get rid of ideas, but there needs to be a very natural way of storing those ideas, those perspectives, those people, and making sure they fit somewhere, even if that somewhere isn't in the forefront of your mind or isn't at the very front of the queue. So that has been an interesting perspective. So I'm grateful for not only all these business connections and all these networking sessions and all the information I've received, but the wisdom within that, and also the process that I've derived to be able to record ideas, record what people say, and to be able to empower myself through that. So I'm very grateful for that process. So I want to give a massive shout out to one of my all-time favorite comedians, Adam Ray. Now, Adam is this amazing comedian from the United States, from Seattle specifically, who has this unbelievable ability to do a range of different characters. And when I was living in the United States, I discovered him through Kill Tony, where he impersonated Joe Biden, did an amazing impersonation, like the wide eyes and, oh, did I just shit my pants? You know, like genuinely great banter between him and Shane Gillis dressed as Trump. And from there, I was kind of like, yeah, who is this Adam Ray guy? He's really, really good at doing characters. And I found out he was impersonating Dr. Phil and doing like these live shows of Dr. Phil. And I'm like, I got to see this live. And so at the time I was living in California, I saw that he was coming to the Masonic Theatre in San Francisco, and I'm like, I got to buy a ticket. I went along. It was one of the funniest nights of comedy I'd ever seen, and he invited Johnny Knoxville on stage, Adam Devine. He had just some amazing guests come up, and very wide-ranging, diverse guests. And he's really made a killing out of this show. Like, it's one of the most highly watched shows. He's done Kill Tony appearances where he's done Madison Square Garden. He's done some huge theatres. And especially when you're an early business owner like myself and you're trying to find the balance between work, life, you know, all those sort of balances, comedy is a great way to just not take yourself too seriously and just have a laugh, you know. And Adam Ray has certainly been that for me. And so when I found out that he was coming out to Melbourne, especially in winter, I not only couldn't believe it, but I was like, how do I get a ticket to this? And so my dad, who has never been to the Palais Theatre, my dad's partner, who's never been to the Palais Theatre, along with myself, who's never been to the Palais Theatre. Come on, we're Melburnians through and through. We haven't been to this gorgeous theatre in St Kilda. And we finally get to go and we get to see Dr. Phil live there. I've got a nice little, I don't think I like your attitude. And of course, a great photo there of Adam Ray as Dr. Phil. Very, very funny, flipping up the birds. And it's just such a fun show. I highly encourage all of you to check out Adam Ray Comedy, YouTube, amazing clips of Dr. Phil. It's a good laugh. And he's got a Netflix special. Sounds like I'm being sponsored by him, but I'm genuinely not. I'm just a fan. But he's awesome. And he's even like, he's such a nice guy. A couple of times I've shared stories of his specials or of some of the shows I've been to. And he shared it on his story and he said, thanks for the support, dude. And I'm like, absolutely. You know, you're doing so great. And I think, when you're a fan of someone, you just want to see them perform and you want to see them do their best. And he's certainly done that now with Netflix specials and all these amazing appearances. He's just killing it. And so the fact that during his unbelievably busy schedule, he's managed to come out to Melbourne, do the Comics Lounge, do the Palais Theatre, do Brisbane, Sydney. He's doing Auckland as well in New Zealand. So, it's amazing. When I eventually get back to the US, I will no doubt be watching his show. So, what a cool guy. Thank you, Adam Ray. Got to shout him out. Now, before we wrap things up, there is another thing that I'm very, very thankful for. It was an opportunity to MC an event. And this event was through the Nillumbik Arts Department. So a big shout out to Sarah Hammond for not only hiring me, but really preparing me so well for such an enjoyable event. It was so much fun. Like the people in the room, the writers and the poets were just so down to earth and did some really incredible work. And this work can be found through their incredible anthology. The event that I got to do was the Nillumbik Prize for Contemporary Writing 2026. It was hosted at the Diamond Valley Library up there in Greensborough, and it was such a great event to be involved with the Nillumbik Shire Council. It felt like a full circle for me, having came back from living overseas and being able to sort of establish myself in Eltham and meet so many people from the Nillumbik Shire and get involved in so many business events and go to so many sort of cultural significant events as well. To be able to then meet people that are a strong part of the heartbeat of the creators within this community and then be asked to do an emceeing event with them was honestly such a privilege, and I really, really had such a great day out. And it was wonderful that my dad, who's a poet himself, was able to attend and to share this event with so many of my loved ones, and some of the comments I've received online and just from people on the day, like the amazing Mayor Naomi Joyner. She said some amazing things to me on the day, and David from Allwood House, he said some beautiful things, and just in general the gratitude in that room was just it was real, and obviously the works of art that are in the anthology are just they're spine tingling, and they're all themes around echoes. And so it's a really fantastic an event, and for me, again, to be involved in local events that are aligned with creativity, it aligns with my values, and you could just see the passion in the room, and to get up there on stage to MC again, it was really, really beautiful. And so very grateful to have that opportunity, and it was it was a really, really special day. Well, I could go on for days about all the things I'm genuinely grateful for. Again, I'm so grateful that you've taken the time out of your day to watch this amazing video. Where I'm recording from in Ivanhoe, I've had the privilege to house sit a really close family friend of ours over the last 6 weeks. So bit of a different location from where I am typically, but I've really enjoyed being able to sort of use this as my business hub and get really creative in this area, and also discover the amazing Darebin Parklands, this really beautiful extensive park. But the area is so cool. It's so close to the city, and I've been really grateful that this has been such a productive time over, the last, almost 2 months probably since I've last checked in. But regardless of how long it's taken me to give you these updates, you guys are the reason why I do this. And so I'm genuinely thankful that you guys have continued to show and share your support in so many different ways. I'm so excited for what's next, and I know that all of you will be massive champions of positive change in my life and in the lives of so many other people. Today, the 26th of June, is my beautiful mother's birthday. She's turning 21, and I just want to shout out my amazing mum. Happy birthday, mum. I hope you have an amazing day. I look forward to catching up with you at some point. Love you all very much, and so excited to share another Thankful Friday with you soon. Take care. Bye.